Is this how the Nets are gonna look next season? Hey, do you guys want to win a PS5 with Madden NFL 21 and NBA 2K21? We'll be announcing the winner as soon as they come out, so be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. The Brooklyn Nets created the makings of a super team last summer when they signed Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant in free agency, but it appears the Nets have even bigger plans for reshaping their roster. New York Daily News reported the Nets have internally discussed avenues of acquiring Wizards guard Bradley Beal. This season had been a struggle for the Nets prior to the suspension of play. Brooklyn was already without Durant, and Irving went in and out of the lineup due to a shoulder impingement that would eventually require surgery. Beal signed an extension with the Wizards prior to the start of the 2019-20 season, but has appeared visibly frustrated throughout the season, while being unable to keep Washington in playoff contention amid a slew of injuries. Irving previously suggested the Nets were missing something in the rotation. Is Beal that guy who could put the Nets over the top? Wizards owner Ted Leonsis has said multiple times the Wizards hope to build around Beal and John Wall, but the two are eating up an enormous chunk of their salary cap, and perhaps it's time for the Wizards to accrue assets while they have the chance. A trade proposal the Nets will possibly make that could really get the Wizards' attention is offering Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, and Jarrett Allen for Beal. At the outset, this seems like a lot of value for the Wizards, and it is, but there are reasons this move makes sense. Both Dinwiddie and LeVert figure to fight for playing time once Durant returns to the rotation. Plus, Dinwiddie will be in the final year of his current contract next season. Allen is quietly one of the best young centers in the NBA, but his offensive game is still limited, and the Nets have seemed more content rolling the dice with DeAndre Jordan at center. Brooklyn still has Nicholas Claxton in the front court. Why not maximize Allen's value? Brooklyn reached an extension with LeVert prior to the start of this season, and he will be making $16.2 million in the first year of that deal next year. For that price, wouldn't the Nets rather have Beal? After all, he's just over a year older than LeVert. As for the Wizards, this more than makes sense in terms of restructuring the roster without blowing things up. They get rid of Beal's contract while also getting an expiring contract in Dinwiddie, giving them quite a bit more financial flexibility. Plus, LeVert can step into Beal's role as a combo guard who handles the ball and can space the floor with his shooting ability. If this trade is not relevant for the Wizards, an alternate the Nets could propose is a trade offer, including Dinwiddie, DeAndre Jordan, Garrett Temple, and their 2020 first-round pick for Beal. Dinwiddie is likely going to be part of any deal for Beal in order to make salaries work, so he is still involved in this proposal. But say the Nets change up and decide they would rather have Allen locking down the middle instead of Jordan. They can shed Jordan's salary and replace LeVert with Garrett Temple. However, the Wizards would be acquiring a relatively large financial commitment for an aging veteran center in Jordan. Thus, the Nets include their 2020 first-round pick. This is hardly the most consequential loss for Brooklyn. The pick would currently be outside the lottery, and the Nets would be acquiring Beal, with the idea he can be a face of the franchise for years to come. This deal would still make sense for the Wizards because they would receive another first-round pick, while also potentially having the opportunity to shop Jordan to get him off the books and create more future cap space. The addition of Temple would also give Washington a veteran presence and a solid wing defender. Perhaps they could even flip him to a contender at the deadline. Regardless, these options could make sense for both teams if the Wizards decide they're willing to shop Beal around. The Nets are looking for a third star to pair next to Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Beal fits that bill, as he's one of the best scorers in the NBA. The Nets would likely have to perform financial gymnastics to make a Beal trade work, since the sharpshooter is owed a lot of money moving forward. Brooklyn already has 3 lucrative contracts on the books in Durant, Irving, and DeAndre Jordan. Having a sniper such as Beal roaming around the arc and getting open through back screens, while Durant and Irving are operating with the ball, would make the Nets nearly impossible to defend on offense. It's going to be interesting to see if Brooklyn general manager Sean Marks can pull this trade off and create a lethal big three of Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Bradley Beal. Will the Wizards be willing to make a trade for their superstar? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.